One. Champion now, champion forever.
Get another one of these this year.
It's my year, man. Draft day. Let's get it.
Y'all ready to get fucked?
The guy with the 48th pick as his first pick is going to hurt this year.
It's my year.
Garrett Wilson better not fuck me over this year.
Fuck your mother.
Beginner's luck for me.
Hello everyone. I wanted to go over the 2024 keeper review and get this video out as soon as possible. The redshirt keeper rule was a rule that was created in our league, and I think for the most part it is only really our league that kind of does this. Connor and I kind of came up with it back in 2019. But it was just a way to keep teams revolving while still having that cornerstone of your team if you wanted to hold on to one player for their entire career. It's a mix of a keeper dynasty league that kind of works out great for us, and it just keeps everybody interested even more. So the first person that I want to talk about is Connor's team. So we have Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyren Williams, Derrick Henry, and James Cook as people of interest on his team. Jalen Hurts and Derrick Henry both are expiring this year, although I'm not sure anybody will keep Derrick Henry this year. Depending on how he plays and how he ages by the end of the season. You can see that he has 2 expiring contracts. It's crazy to think that back in 2019, 8 years seemed like so long ago for Lamar Jackson, but Connor is going to have to make a decision in the upcoming years between Jalen Hurts and Lamar, and that's, again, kind of why we did this, because Connor was rewarded for an incredible pick in Lamar Jackson, and now he's going to have to make a decision between 2 elite quarterbacks. I threw James Cook in here as well because he's looking really good, so somebody might be interested in him by the end of the year. He has a 1-year contract, basically drafted in the second round this year. Using 1 year this year, he will be expiring next year if somebody does decide to keep him. The next league member is Cam Ferguson. Cam has always done a very good job of keeping long contracts, just really good drafting. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, to get that stack for multiple years. You can see both had 7-year contracts back in 2020 and 2021. Incredibly well done there, although they're not looking very good this year. Seem to be fighting a lot, and we'll see what happens to that Bengal team. But then he has CJ Stroud as well, an 8-year contract in 2023. Such a great pick by me, and a wonderful job by Cam to get him off of me right before he really blew up. So you can see that Cam is really sitting pretty. He only has Jaden McDaniels. I did include Josh Jacobs just because somebody may keep him by the end of the year depending on how the Packers look. And with us going back to 4 keepers, that is 40 players that will be kept. So I could see Josh Jacobs being one of those 40 if he does play well this season. So this is, another thing is most likely Cam will not be keeping 3 quarterbacks. So if you do look to trade for one of his quarterbacks, you can see their contracts. Again, a reminder, if you do trade for an expired player, such as Jaden McDaniels, you will get an extra year onto his contract, so he would expire at the end of 2025. Myself, I have Tyreek, Jordan Love, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Jordan Love is my only good contract right now. I will be holding on to him dearly. Tyreek and Jahmyr Gibbs are both expiring at the end of this year, so I will need to move one before the end of the season, or there's always the option of taking them into the playoffs in hopes of going further. So you kind of play that game, whether you decide you want to keep the player into the playoffs and lose them, or if you want to try to get some value out of them. I didn't have a pick till the 4th round, so I have no players that have any issues outside of these 3. The next one is Zach. He took over for Nick, RIP Nick, but Nick did have some good contracts. Obviously, when we went to 10 teams, the idea with Tua was that Kyler and Tua are a great combo to have at quarterback, especially in a league where quarterbacks are going to be harder to come by, with it being 10 teams. But so you can see those contracts there. Great contracts for the quarterbacks. So he has to make a decision by the end of the year between Jonathan Taylor and Garrett Wilson. Both are expiring. You can see that right there. So there's Zach's team. The next league member is Andrew. Again, Andrew has 2 wonderful contracts. And honestly, I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to keep quarterbacks on good contracts. You could see this year quarterbacks went so early. They're highly sought after. And so we're going to have a lot of turnover at quarterback going forward. It's not going to be so much that we are able to find these young quarterbacks on long contracts. I think that everybody's kind of picked up on it, and they're really trying to target, getting good players early. So he does have Isaiah Pacheco and Christian McCaffrey expiring, but with the Isaiah Pacheco injury and the Christian McCaffrey injury, I'm not sure what Andrew is going to do. Christian McCaffrey is probably going to be kept forever until he retires out of this league. You can see that he had a 1-year contract in 2019, so since 2019, Christian McCaffrey has either been redshirted or traded every single year since then. Bobby has Josh Allen, AJ Brown, Dak Prescott, and Drake London as people of interest on his team. Josh Allen, he expired in 2020. That most likely will be Bobby's redshirt keeper for as long as he wants to. But you can see AJ Brown is close to expiring at this point. Great pick in the 4th round before he went to the Eagles. Nobody was quite sure how good he'd be. So well done with that pick back in the day. But that decision will come by the end of next year. And then just a person that he drafted in the 1st round in Drake London. Hasn't looked great. Kind of broke out a little bit. If Kirk is able to, get in rhythm with that team, Drake London could be somebody that's going to be kept by the end of the year. So if Bobby decides to trade him for some value, you would get that extra year on there. Next league member is Jacob. So he's got Patrick Mahomes, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, and Chris Olave. Jacob has Patrick Mahomes. Back in the day, it was a controversial pick because we had just started our league. He took him number 4 overall in our 2019 initial draft, and it turned out to be the best pick ever, probably. He led Jacob to a couple championships and is the cornerstone of his team. I'm not sure if Jacob will ever move on Patrick Mahomes. I don't see him doing that anytime soon. He has Amon-Ra and Justin Jefferson on incredible contracts. Well done by him to get Amon-Ra for me last year. And then he did pick up Justin Jefferson on the waivers back in 2020. It's hard to believe that was so long ago. It's already been 4 years basically since he's done that, it's hard to believe. And then his round 1 draft pick was Chris Olave. So he is expiring as well. So Thomas has one of the most interesting situations this year. He has Breece Hall, Anthony Richardson, Justin Herbert, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Devon Achane as people of interest. Breece Hall had a 1-year contract in 2022. He was traded by Nick. And I can't even remember that entire trade, but it ended up working out well for Thomas. Great trade for Thomas last year to get Anthony Richardson, and then obviously Herbert he traded for in 2020 and has kept him ever since. The cornerstone of Thomas's team is for sure Justin Herbert, although I did add a picture of Justin Herbert handing off the ball because it seems as if that is going to be his new role going forward. The Chargers at one point were an incredible passing team, and Herbert was so much fun to watch. But We'll see if that ever happens again. But he has 3 players expiring, Breece Hall, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Devon Achane. I would say that Thomas has the best team he's had in a while, and the hardest decision to make when it comes to how he's going to deal with these players. Marvin Harrison Jr. obviously is a generational talent. We saw him break out, and it was incredible. I can't even imagine how good Kyler and him are going to be together. So maybe that is a target for Zach. I don't know if he would ever want that stack, but I don't. And it's something to look into. Devon Achane is also an elite talent. I would assume he would be kept. And so Thomas needs to decide, or he has a lot of big decisions to make. But yeah. Oscar has CeeDee Lamb, Justin Fields, Puka Nacua, and Saquon. Saquon and CeeDee are expiring players, and then Justin Fields and Puka are on long contracts. It looks as if Justin Fields has already taken that starting job back in Pittsburgh, so that has been great for him. He hasn't looked all that good, but he does have some decent weapons. George Pickens can be good, and I think that Justin Fields is just one of those guys that needs to settle into the offense before he really feels comfortable. Oscar will need to make a decision between CeeDee and Saquon by the end of the year. And then I'm not sure what he'll do with Puka. We'll see what he looks like when he comes back from injury. And finally, we have Gregor. Gregor, he, in his expansion draft, he picked great players, right? But then this is where we run into issues, is that Travis Etienne and Bijan are expiring, as well as Caleb Williams, his first-round draft pick. He has Brock Purdy on an 8-year contract, and so most likely he will keep Brock Purdy for a very long time, and he can figure out what to do with Etienne and Robinson and Williams, who to keep out of those and who to trade. I wanted to get this out as soon as possible, mainly for everybody to make informed decisions when they're trading. My intention with the Bijan for Gibbs trade was never really to keep Bijan if Gregor did not want that to happen. It was good. It was a good example for everybody just to kind of get on track and kind of value their own players. Obviously, with expiring contracts and everything, you do not need to make decisions right away. Things can happen and evolve all the way until week 12. Week 12, the trade deadline is Wednesday at midnight. And so you would, at this point, need to kind of decide where you want your team to look like going forward. And you need to make those big decisions by week 12. Injuries pile up, things happen, so it doesn't hurt to trade players before then, but you really want to kind of value your own players, know where you stand with your own players, and decide what kind of team you want going into the playoffs. Some people have opted into resetting, going for draft picks, trying their best to reset without losing. Obviously, the goal is to not lose. Going forward, after the Bijan trade, I do want to reiterate that this is a no veto league. So please, please, please make the decisions about your team with the best interest for yourself. And then we will see where things shake out come the end of the season. But I do highly encourage everybody to engage in as many trade talks as they can. With 10 players, it is going to be much harder to pick up people off the waivers that are good. So you're going to have to build a team through trading. And with us going back to 4 keepers, the top 40 players are going to be gone. So the draft is going to be harder to rebuild. It's going to be harder to rebuild through the draft. So make all your decisions wisely, and good luck the rest of the year. Thank you.